Now we turn our focus back to Washington, D.C., the swamp, where President Trump has issued a stern warning to anyone attempting to vandalize historic monuments and buildings. Yesterday, he vowed to enforce the Preservation Act and put any vandals behind bars for up to 10 years. Today, during a speech in Arizona, just a couple of short hours ago, or an hour and a half ago, the president had this to say about some of the far-left protesters causing massive unrest in America's cities. Let's take a look.
They're tearing down statues, desecrating monuments, and purging dissenters. It's not the behavior of a peaceful political movement. It's the behavior of totalitarians and tyrants and people that don't love our country. They don't love our country.
This comes as law enforcement in D.C. faced yet another wave of angry protesters. Tonight, police all across this country continue to now face horrific conditions. We're now heading up to 900 injured. Rocks, bottles, bricks, Molotov cocktails. We have some dead, as many as 6, one permanently injured and now paralyzed from the neck down. Here's just a small sample of what they are up against. Take a look.
You're a piece of You're a piece of You really are. You really are. You're part of the problem. And I hope that your children treat you the way you deserve to be treated.
As you can see, not exactly the easiest job in the world. Now, despite what are extreme conditions that police are facing, Democratic politicians, they are leaving them out to dry. Some even calling for the entire police departments in big cities to be defunded and even dismantled. Now, these are the same Democratic politicians, as we went over in great detail last night. We won't reiterate tonight, but to sum up, have failed their cities for decades. Their education system in ruins. Violent crime has been out of control for decades. They don't solve or fix any problem. Safety, security for every American should be a protected right. And in the past few weeks, a wave of looting, arson, vandalism, precinct burning, precincts taken over, and wrecked city centers. So what is the Democratic presumptive nominee's plan to restore order in America's liberal cities? As we begin our opening monologue tonight, after all, we do have another candidate. It is 133 days till we, the American people, that you will have the ultimate decision. You'll be the ultimate jury. Well, the ever weak, forgetful Joe Biden has been in public life for over 50 years. So in 5 decades, he must have come up with a plan. He must have done things right. Well, the mob and the media will never tell you. We might never know, by the way, because, well, weak Joe Biden, the forgetful one, has not held a press conference in 82 days. The media mob, of course, aiding and abetting and protecting fragile Joe, just like they did Hillary in 2016. That's right. After 82 days, Joe has been mostly hiding in his basement bunker. But that, by the way, that pleases Terry McAuliffe. I'm fine with him in the basement. He only sees 2 people a day, 2 body people. He's going to run for president. We're going to vote in 133 days. Pretty much he's all but shut off from the outside world, not weighing in on the big issues of the day. Instead of taking any questions from reporters, he conducts what are these pre-scripted and frankly pathetic podcasts, which he somehow manages to even botch over again and again and again and again. No outrage from the media mob. He gets a pass. Predictably, they do this often. President Trump, if he goes a few seconds or days without taking questions, they have a collective meltdown. Joe Biden can actually go 82 days, no questions, no media pretty much at all, only friendly media. That's because they're shielding Joe Biden. They know it because President Trump, well, he did issue police reform guidelines. Now, Joe was vice president 8 years. He never did that. And by the way, we now know it was President Trump. He's the one that passed criminal justice and prison reform. That wasn't Barack and that wasn't Joe. In fact, Senate Democrats are now stalling reform efforts in the Senate tonight as we speak. They know it was President Trump also. He's the one that expanded funding and commitment on unprecedented commitment for historically black colleges in America. It wasn't Joe Biden and it wasn't Barack Obama. And they didn't know also it was President Trump. He created economic opportunity zones in struggling neighborhoods. He talked about all of this in his speech tonight. It wasn't Barack and it wasn't Joe. And Joe, again, 5 decades in government. Trump, less than 4 years. And of course, the media mob also very worried that Biden can't actually answer tough questions at all. For example, we know tonight President Trump is vowing to lock up anybody who vandalizes our historic monuments and buildings. In other words, he has a position. He's taken a stand. OK, so the question, the mob and the media, if they had half a sense to do their job, they would insist on these answers tonight. What would Joe do? What would Biden do? Does he support the tearing down of statues? Does he support the tearing down of monuments? What about the certain monuments in Baltimore dedicated by Nancy Pelosi's father and kept in place by her own brother? So tonight we ask, OK, does weak, ever forgetful Joe Biden, does he support the vandalism, for example, that took place last night at St. John's Church with BHAZ, or Black House Autonomous Zone, spray painted on the front of that church? Far-left activist Sean King, well, now he wants and is leading an effort, apparently statues of Jesus torn down because he thinks they're, quote, a form of white supremacy. OK. Joe Biden, the forgetful one, do you agree or disagree? And Joe, what do you think about Seattle's lawless CHOP, autonomous Summer of Love festival zone? Do you have any comments about that? And Joe, what do you have to say to the people whose businesses in Seattle have now been destroyed in those 6 blocks of lawlessness? What do you have to say to the 900 or so police officers that were injured with rocks and bottles and bricks and Molotov cocktails? What do you say to the families that lost loved ones who are serving their communities and protecting them as police officers? Do you support Joe, the Seattle mayor? Do you support the Washington state governor? Do you support allowing a large part of an American city to be taken over? If you do, let us know. If you don't, tell us what your solutions are. What are your solutions for police-community relations? Why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you and Barack implement changes, let's see, after Cambridge, after Ferguson, after Baltimore, and at any point in the 8 years you were the vice president of the United States? Why didn't you do it then? And by the way, as we continue our questioning, what would the ever weak and frail and forgetful Joe do to improve our failing educational systems in America's big cities? Well, what have you done in the last 50 years? That's a legitimate question. And Joe, by the way, remember, we haven't forgotten. You fought against integration efforts alongside leading segregationists. By the way, here's a question for Joe. Do you regret that? Joe, do you regret openly worrying that your kids could grow up in a, quote, racial jungle? Your words. Joe, do you regret authoring the 1994 crime bill? Well, that's the one that led to mass incarceration of minorities in this country. In other words, the one with criminal justice reform that Donald Trump fixed. And by the way, Joe, do you regret praising the former Grand Poobah of the Ku Klux Klan, Robert Byrd? Because you praised him a lot. Also, Joe, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, well, she's now advising your campaign. OK, weak Joe, frail Joe, do you agree with her socialist utopian vision? You said you support a Green New Deal. Do you fully support her version of a Green New Deal? No oil, no energy, no gas, no coal, and we're going to give everything away free. OK, what are you going to replace the lifeblood of the world's economy with? Let's start with that question for Joe. And by the way, Joe, will you encourage businesses to move out of China? Are you going to hold China's government accountable, even though your son, zero experience Hunter, wow, he got a better deal than he even got in terms of Ukraine? Because with China, he got a sweetheart $1.5 billion deal with the actual Bank of China. And we don't see any experience in his background at all that would have warranted such a deal. But it happened shortly after he stepped off your Air Force Two airplane in Beijing when you went to visit Asia and China, when you were the vice president. Another question Joe may want to ask is, will you ask your son to give up the shares and the investment of that $1.5 billion deal with China? Or maybe give back the money from Burisma Holdings that he admits he had zero experience in and got paid anyway? I don't know. I have no idea. Any experience? No, none whatsoever. Anyway, that's a lot of millions of dollars, Joe, and you did threaten to fire that prosecutor. I'd like to know your answer. Why did you leverage a quid and a pro and a quo $1 billion taxpayer dollars? We also know that Biden initially bashed President Trump's China travel ban. Remember, that went into effect 10 days after the first identified confirmed case of coronavirus in the U.S. Well, Joe, you called it hysterical, xenophobic, and fear-mongering. Okay, Joe, what would you have done differently? Because 2 months and 3 days later, you said you did now support the travel ban. By that time, it was way too late. We can go on and on. Let's end with one more important question. Here's a question we need to ask ourselves as a country in 133 days. Does the ever frail, forgetful, 78-year-old, confused and confounded Joe Biden, does he have the strength? Does he have the stamina? Does he have the alertness, the mental acuity to perform the toughest job in the world well into his 80s? Now, the media might want to ask the age questions that they had no trouble asking Ronald Reagan in 1984. Will we get to see all of his medical records? Will he explain why he's having so much trouble putting together a podcast and 2 cogent sentences without some colossal gaffe? Will the media mob ever ask Biden any of these questions? Will they even bother to pressure the Biden campaign to hold a simple press conference? Let's start with maybe a Zoom press conference. Now, I would argue tonight, 133 days before the election, the American people deserve to see Joe Biden. Joe, come out of hiding. Joe, tell us where you stand. Joe, tell us why you didn't do more in 50 years in public life. You're one team. We got the mob and the media protecting you. But you know what? The American people, I give them a lot of credit. And I think they're going to see through the charade. And again, another unholy alliance. The mob and the media, they chose sides. First they chose Hillary. Now they choose you.